Dying is the only certainty we have in life, as we know. And in North East London, we wanted to find out a bit more about what that means to the residents and communities living in the area. So what we have done is spoken to the people's platforms in North East London to find out a bit more about the experiences, preferences and views of the communities in North East London. Phil, as chair of the End of Life Care subgroup, how did you go about doing this work?
Yeah, we wanted to approach it in a way that was a little bit different. We held a number of events in sort of all around North East London at various venues. The take-up was magnificent. I mean, for example, one particular event was 40 people were registered and we ended up with over 150 people turning up. So it's obviously a very important issue for people locally. So.
What do you think the most important aspects are to coming near to death?
Not die on your own. There should be somebody near you, and if you don't have anybody who's just staying in your house, then the hospital is the best place, hospital or hospice, whatever, where there'll be somebody. I don't want to die and nobody will know for weeks.
I suppose to be surrounded in familiar surroundings and surrounded by people who you know and who care for you and who you feel safe with.
I think that to make sure that everything is done in accordance with the Jewish law and not in contradiction to it.
For me, it would be, I would like to know whether, what's the end of life, and I would like to make a repentance.
To be perfectly honest, I haven't given it much thought.
The most important thing for me is choice, that I have choices and that my wishes are kept strictly to the letter.
Make a will, whether you have a lot or little, write something down or ask someone to write something on paper.
So have you thought about your own death?
Oh yes, since I'm over 70. Since I was 65, I planned for my life. When I go, everybody will be happy because something must be on the kit for them to enjoy, because they have to dance at that time and sing when I die. Don't sorry, because I'm over 70. So I prepare myself.
When I attend funerals, I just remember that I'm going to die one day, that's all. I mean, but I don't take it very serious that it's something to worry about. You have to accept it as a natural phenomenon that it will happen to everybody. So you shouldn't feel desperate.
So
just relax and say, I'm going.
Yeah.
Yes, I know I will die, but to say, yes, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I will do that, no, it doesn't bother. I take each moment as it comes.
Not too much, because it's not something that I particularly want to dwell on, but I have thought about it, and I want to be, the most important thing to me about when I do die is that I'm surrounded by people who love me.
Made my will, and I have paid for my funeral. So I'm prepared for it. I don't want to be a burden on anybody when I die.
Have you experienced being involved in someone's death?
Yes. When I was small, I was 9 when my grandmother, who cared for me, passed away. Well, I didn't understand it fully until my son suffers with sickle cell, and he passed away 95 at the age of 31. So that was really stressful and a dramatic time for me. But thank God, I've got friends and a good church background that supports me and helps me and the families to get over.
You know, the poor woman was trying to die, and the people in the care home, it wasn't a nursing home, they wouldn't transfer her to a nursing home. They were scared of what might happen, so they kept disrupting her and taking her to hospital. And I just hope that she didn't know enough about what was going on to realise, but it really upset me. and the rest of the family, because that's not what she wanted. She'd made her wishes very clear to us, but they just weren't adhered to.
It's one of the lady I love. She died here, and well, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what happened, but at the last day of her life, she wants to come here, and that's where she wants. Now we visit her. 2 hours to the time she wants to go, I was by her.
The happiest thing that could happen to someone who died with me was my fiance's friend, because she was caring for her. And she died in a hospice in Waltham Forest. I don't know the name of the hospice, but she seemed like she was very well looked after. She had lung cancer. They put her on a machine to help with her breathing, to ease her breathing, and they give her some drugs to make sure that she's not feeling pain. And she was able to squeeze like my hand every now and again. And I think that she died a happy death. I couldn't have said the same about my stepmother and my Uncle Dale. And my stepmother's death, it did affect me. It did. Just to know how quickly that she went. So, and she was in a great deal of pain as well.
Lorraine, how did you find, as chair of the platform out in North East London, how did you feel the platform approached this subject?
I think the People's Platform worked very well on this very difficult piece of work. Speaking about end-of-life care is not easy, but as you quite rightly said, that is the one certainty in life. Many studies, I feel, have looked at end-of-life care from a clinical-led perspective, from doctors, from nurses, but for the first time I think the People's Platform looked at it from an individual's perspective, you know, whether you be someone that's been caring for somebody for a long time and you've had to look after them, and finally, you know, that person passes away, and then you are the bereaved person. And I think those aspects we have been allowed to look at those aspects, and I hope that the information that we've gathered, that will be very helpful when the work is hopefully taken further by the commissioners.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think there's, you know, there are lots of stories, there are lots of issues, there are lots of choices that really people want to make themselves, and this discussion document really is showing how much people actually want to discuss this issue in a big way. You know, so.
Thank you.
And of course we've managed to get people from lots of different cultures, different religions, because I think that maybe a lot of the hospitals don't really know what should happen to a person when they die. You know, if they are from another religion, they're not Christian, you know, they might be Muslim or Jewish or Hindu or whatever, and I hope that the information that we've got from lots of different people from those communities, from those cultures, will be looked at, and they might be able to be brought into the hospital, which shows that respect is being given to those people and to those families from other cultures within this country.
Commissioning point of view to make sure we reach everybody in the community, and everybody's view is important, and how does that influence what we do in healthcare today?
I mean, there are a lot of issues that came to point, people wanting to be at home at their end of life with their families around them, with their friends around them. You know, as Lorraine stated, you know, we did reach a lot of diverse cultures. It doesn't matter about, you know, where people originally were from, it was the way that people wanted to actually end their lives with families, friends, and the issues that were important to them and the choices that they wanted.